Yes, here we are. Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
Hi, everybody. My energy is low, but it's normal. It will pick up. I feel exhausted, but it's not like
Yes, here
physical,
we
it's
are.
like it's, you know, mental
It's
and
like
just,
emotional.
yeah, emotional emotional exhaustion, emotional and mental exhaustion. But it's cool,
Yep.
for anyone listening. So we took a break, obviously, because we had, stuff going on, but unfortunately I lost my grandma and she's like dear to my heart. She was like my primary caregiver, like she literally brought me up, so it's quite close to home. She means so much to me. So yeah, and it was so sudden. It's a bit of a shock still, but you know I am moving through it. My family is moving through it. It's interesting to see how everyone processes grief because some of us kind of want to talk about it to process it, and some of us don't want to talk about it. So it's just a matter of like finding that balance and respecting everyone's boundaries. Because there are times where I'm like, I want to talk about it. And then they're like, well, we don't want to talk about it. So what do we do? And we're sharing the same space. So what do we do? Like, but yeah, there's a lot of navigating. It's just it's interesting, the whole
What
process.
exactly? Exactly. What have you guys found at this point as far as like an in-between compromise if one person doesn't want to talk about it and one person does? Like, have you figured out a way to make that work yet?
I don't think we have. So I think what would happen is, the ones that are willing to kind of talk about it, I'll kind of pull them aside sometimes, or like I'll be like, hey, let's go for a walk, or like if they were going to do something, I'll just tag along just so we could talk about it. I need to talk about it. I need to talk about, the good times and talk about like share. Okay, what were the things that I would share with you? What are the things that, just so I don't know, like just keep the conversation alive. So
Mhm.
I don't think we found a balance because still it's like I'm learning a lot, now, like in terms of um what role I get to play in all of this. Cause like sometimes our family members, like our immediate family members, don't have a say on certain things because the funeral isn't ours. Basically, like there's like all these external people coming into planet, you know and obviously it's interesting because it's like the first time someone older in my family has passed away, and I think when the person is older there's like a lot of passage of right, is that the word, like a lot of things that need to be done, like rituals that need
Mm.
to be done, that I'm not looking forward to the funeral, that's for sure. I'm not looking forward to that day because I just know it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot, but it has to happen. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
a lot in the sense of like just talking a lot to people and
The rituals, like, so there are parts where, well, my mom said I don't have to come, but I want to go, like when they're dressing my grandma, like, the woman has to be there, like the older daughter. And I guess in this case, the older grandchild, like just be there and talk to her, talk her through the process of her dressing up and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
then obviously the waykeeping where we have her with us, you know the whole night, like she'd just be there in the house dressed up and be there with her and stuff like that. And like these sort of rituals, like they're things we gotta give her as grandchildren to take with her. Like there's like all these beautiful rituals that I didn't know about, which is, it sounds beautiful, but because obviously I'm not used to it and I haven't done it before, it's like I'm feeling the weight of what's to come because I don't know what to expect, you know.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, other than that, it's interesting to see the family come together. We're huge, like all the extended family, like her side of the family, my grandpa's side of the family. It's the funeral we're expecting at the moment 800 people. And that's an
Wow.
estimate. It's yeah, my grandma's she's been instrumental in a lot of people's lives, a lot, you know. So a lot of people are traveling to come and, yeah, it's going to be in September, so we still have a bit of time.
Okay.
Um, but yeah,
Wow, that's epic. I feel like it'll be at least cool to see so many people, all of the people whose lives she's touched, or a lot of them,
yeah,
800 people. Like, wow, that is powerful.
yeah. And we're just estimating that, and this is
Wow.
not from where she's spent majority of her life, because majority of her life she spent in the western part of Ghana. um, and we don't know everyone. We don't have their details to go and inform them, else they'll all come,
Right.
So it's like just the people that we remember that we've kind of touched on, and it's like, wow, But yeah, I'm happy to be celebrating her life and her legacy. That I'm looking forward to. So yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, you guys, that's what's kept me away. I needed a bit of time to kind of process because it was a bit of a shock. It came out of nowhere. Because you never even heard me say my grandma's not well. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It just came out of nowhere, and that's a shocking part.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And I was gonna say I've accepted it, but I don't think I have. I think I'm still in denial. Majority of my family members, every now and again, were like, "Yeah, we still feel like she's in the hospital," because it hasn't hit yet. It
Yeah.
has, but I haven't fully processed it. But yeah, this is where we're at, and you know, death is part of life. So, you know,
100%. And it's like it just to me it just makes sense that it would take a really long time to process something like that. Like I haven't had someone super close to me die at all because I haven't been very close to my extended family. Um, but let alone someone like, that I'm really close with die suddenly. I don't have any experience with that, but I can just imagine. It just makes sense to me that it's like a whole process, but it's not just like, okay, it's going to be a whole process, couple months. Like it's like a life-changing thing,
yeah,
So it's just like, it's not even like, in my mind, I'm like, it's not, it may not even be like, okay, when do I like get over this?
never,
Or, you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
just, it's like how our lives are shaped. It's just like a part of our lives, like you said, and it's just like how we're adapting to that, just like we're adapting to like being a human ourselves, like when is that over? It's not.
exactly,
It was just like consistent, you know what I mean?
exactly. So that's just that. I don't think it's ever gonna happen because it's like you go there and you see her couch, and it's like that's her couch.
Yeah.
Whenever I go and visit, once I enter the bathroom, by the time I come out, she's like, "Here's your hand sanitizer," because she knows I prefer to use hand sanitizer. And so today, when I was there, I came out and I'm like, "Oh, that does not need to hand me hand sanitizer. Someone hand sanitizer." It's something I didn't have to think of whenever I'm around because she just. But yeah,
Wow.
it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting, but yeah, I'm moving through it day by day.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. I know Ida does that well. I always think of you as someone who does that well. You know how to process stuff. You do. Even if it takes time, it's like it should probably take time.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I'm glad that, I get to still come here and share ideas and thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Even when like things are hectic and planning and family and all of that, it's like I'm
Yeah.
really thankful that you did come.
Same. Now I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate your patience and just your support, love, and care through the process. Like you have no idea. You just made it. Because sometimes I'm like, oh man, and then I'm like, Ida, whenever you're ready. And I was like, oh, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
of course, girl. My
Yeah.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah.
I do
I was
what?
about to say before we start. I was about to say before we started, you had something to say, but I think you were going there.
Well, I do have a topic to share, but I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Okay. You mentioned like it seems like your grandmother is still kind of around, you know, and I wonder if it's I I don't know. I wonder if it's always going to feel that way because maybe it's a spirit thing. Like maybe she's still kind of with you. I just wonder if you thought about that at all.
I hope so. And funnily enough, that's something that, Daniel says quite a bit. Like
Mm,
whenever I'm like, my grandma, like, don't worry, she's here with you in spirit. Like she's here in spirit. So I think just having that at the back of my mind that, like sometimes I feel like she's comforting me. I don't know. I just feel like she's just there, like, it's okay. Like, um, so that, kind of gives me a bit of comfort that, yeah, she's not here in flesh, but she's here in spirit.
mhm.
And that
Yeah.
will do.
Yeah. Yeah. I would just like to hear more about that over time too, you know, like if that changes as in like if you start developing a relationship with that feeling, like
Good. Oh Lord.
you know what I mean?
I have a feeling that will happen because I'm still talking to her. I'm having chats with her, and
Mm.
so I don't know if that's part of the healing process or that's just it's gonna be. But yeah, I'll
Yeah.
keep you posted. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm still talking to grandma. Still am. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know. I like that she's around, you know, it's just clear like she's very still present in this sense that you feel like, you know, I could see it feeling like, oh, I'm just used to being around her, so this is what it feels like. But I could also see it as like you just feel there's some sort of her presence around. And I don't know, I think that can be so real and
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Nice.
I'm aware of her presence and I give room for that, you
Mm,
know. So I guess now I'm living my life as though she's here. I
yeah.
can't see her, but her presence is here somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm. It's cool. It's cool. All right. So I wanted to talk about this. It's career oriented and it
For
kind of updates everyone too, because I'm realizing even when we recorded the last couple times, we didn't talk much about career, I don't believe. I think we were talking about some other random topics.
mm-hmm.
So you guys, I've been doing house sitting, like property sitting for a large chunk of my income because yeah, I pretty much stopped coaching. Oh man, I think this is all updates that I haven't given you guys yet.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much stopped coaching because I just realized like I'm at a place right now where I just feel like people and like the people who may have been may be my clients or want to be my clients, they do best just like part of life is like figuring things out for yourself and then you develop self-trust and then I just like really value that right now, so I don't want to give anyone life advice. I don't know what the right diet is for them, what the right advice is for them. I could see myself being like coaching people on trusting themselves at some
Uh-huh.
point in time, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
right now I just doesn't feel right. So I have some income coming in from the app I made, Primal Meetup, for people who like raw meat and the weird diet stuff I like. And then I'm doing house sitting as well, which is taking care of people's properties, their garden, their animals, that sort of thing. And this leads me to what I wanted to talk about today because I was thinking about why do I love this house sitting thing so much? Like we men, I how many episodes have we gone through where we're saying, I don't want to do anything else besides my business, but my business isn't making me enough money. So what do I do? You know? How many, like 5, 6 episodes? We've been talking about this for hours, you know? And I realized that I finally found something that I really enjoy doing. I won't want to do it for the rest of my life because I really would like to have my own family, my own property and all that. But right now it's like perfect and I love it. And I started thinking about, okay, why? And I started thinking about like these main things, like these main reasons. And I want to bounce it off you, I and see like how if you vibe with it too, as you know, someone who is a more independent working person. So first, I realized I don't, well, we've talked about this before. It's no surprise. I don't like to have a boss who is like around in my physical presence. And it's not because I've had some amazing bosses. I've loved like my bosses, but I didn't like working for them still, not because I didn't like them as a boss. They're people, but I don't work that well under pressure, someone else watching me type of thing, you know? So here um I'm able to kind of like do my own thing, but in my own space with the people who are paying for me with their requirements. So I was like, wow, okay, that works really well. You know, like, okay, it's not, yes, it's my own business technically. Other people are paying me and kind of telling me what to do, right? How to take care of their animals and their properties. But it doesn't bother me because I have my own space to do it. No one's like watching me do it. They're just trusting me to do it. And I can kind of like, you know, there's wiggle room sometimes where I can kind of figure out things my own way. Love that. So I was like, wow, that's such an important distinction. You know, like I was trying to, I was only thinking about jobs that would have my boss like present or like checking up on me. And it's just so different for me to, you know, be at a property myself and like have people that have just decided to trust me and they don't have to really check up besides like, hey, how are things going? You know, and I say good and they're like, great. You know, it's so non-specific. It's so just general. Like you have, is everyone good? You have you have things going well? Yeah, that's it, you know? And next, no coworkers. I realize that's huge.
Ah,
I I just you know I love people, I love people,
no, I know.
but I can't be expected to like everybody. And if I have to be around, you know, being forced to be around people I may or may not like, I don't like that. And I realized that was huge. Like I get to work by myself. Um, and then driving to a place, like I get to hang out somewhere for like a week or a couple days and chill. I get to chill and I kind of get to do my own thing and no one's watching over me and I'm trusted. And I wanted to bring this up. Well, obviously it suits what we've been talking about and it kind of is not a close, but like it ties a lot together with a lot of the questions we've been asking because I feel like a lot of people listening to this podcast probably are going to be in a similar position. And like, who doesn't go through that as a self-employed person building their business? Like, this is what feels best for me, but it's not making ends meet. So what else do I do? And I'm like, wow, it's been so valuable for me to identify these things of like, first of all, that there are jobs that fit all of these things. And two, like, really trusting the fact that I don't want someone watching over me or like I don't want coworkers. And I think, you know, in the self-development industry, you know, I would even, and this is something to talk to my therapist about because I would even think if I, you know, my therapist and I have talked about like, well, why do you not like bosses watching over you? And I know it goes back to my childhood, but like I think it's an interesting conversation too to take it past this, you know, after we vibe on how you differ eyed or how you relate to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to even take it further of like can we just like allow what we want to be okay? Or should we always be constantly putting ourselves out of our comfort zones, even if we know it doesn't feel good? Like, is that always an unhealthy thing? So I think it brings up some interesting topics. And so when I bring up this list of like what I like, what I don't like, do you relate to that?
110%.
Yeah.
It's funny because I started to think about, even when I was working in community services and mental health back in Australia, I would pick the night shift because guess what? There's no boss around, no co-worker, it's just me, and I just wanted to just be there and just do my work when I wanted to, because whenever there was a co-worker, I can't just sit and chill because they're like, let's finish the work. And I'm like, well, I want to finish it when I want to. So
Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm the same. And I think for me, it's not so much about, wanting to own my own business and whatnot. Obviously, the reason why we started venturing our own thing is because we don't want this thing. We don't want all the corporate stuff, like where there's a boss and it's like KPIs and all of that. Not for me, So I guess fundamentally, we want to do something that feels like we're in control and we're doing what we want, whether we're working for someone or we're working for ourselves. I think that's a baseline, right? And I guess that's also a delusional part about that, because someone will be like, well, you're always going to have a boss and whatnot. But I don't know, even if it's an illusion of not having that, I'll choose that. So I'm with you on that, 110. Like, even then, when I was working, as you started talking about yours, I was like, man, I'm the same. Every job I've done, I made sure I picked doing things. Like my first job ever was working for KFC, and I was out front, like I was on cash register, and just having to serve people, having to deal directly with the boss, because the boss is like around making sure that you're serving people under 1 minute and stuff. I was like, you know what? And I happened to just one day go to my boss and say, hey, I know I'm really good out front, but trust me, I'm going to be bomb making burgers. So just put me out back. Because out back, I'm the only one making burgers. I'm in my space. The manager doesn't come to the back because you don't want to disturb the person making burgers. So I convinced my manager to put me on burgers.
Genius.
And they put me on burgers and I was there by myself. No one's coming to control me. No one. As long as I made sure that once there's 2 burgers, I make sure there's 5. So whenever there's 2, make 3 more. So always make sure that there's 5. That's all I needed to sort out. And I became so good at making burgers that my boss won't be like, oh, Ida, let me supervise you, because they know. They even took me so each franchise, each place, we had this competition where you pick your best burger person. It was like a regional competition. You pick your best burger person and your best serving person, and you go, and they picked me, and I won the regional burgers. I won because it's like I became good at, so I guess the point is I'm really good at working by myself and directing myself and having a system for myself, because being on burgers, there's no system. Obviously, there's only, this is how the burger needs to look like. That's it. How I decide to do it, that's up to me. So I set up my own system that was working for me. And that system was just bomb. Even when the assessors were looking, they're like, wow, this is incredible, because it's like, by the time I make my burger, my station is clean. I had this system. No one taught me, and I feel like that gives me the freedom to be able to create efficiency. And one thing about me is I love efficiency. I don't care where I'm working. Things need to be efficient. Don't tell me to print out stuff for the sake of printing it out. Why? How is this going to help? If it's not, why am I doing it? And I remember at team meetings, my manager used to always be annoyed with me, because my manager would be like, yeah, so we've introduced this new form. And I was like, okay, how's this new form going to change the lives of our clients? If they're not, why are we feeling it? Why? Just to check off some checklist? Why? I don't want to do it. Sorry. I don't want to do it, you know? But yeah, it's interesting. So I'm the same. I want to be working on my own because I can create my own way of doing things that is efficient for me, which in turn becomes efficient for the company anyway,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. Wow, it makes so much sense. And that's so funny because I was thinking about that too the other day, actually yesterday. I was like, also the way that people do things. Cause like I said, the homeowners tell me what to do, you know, because dogs have specific protocols. Sometimes horses have specific protocols, and I follow that. I don't do anything dangerous. But sometimes there's wiggle room with how I do things slash when. So like maybe they say, I don't, it doesn't matter when you feed the horses, but make sure it's like 7 hours apart. So I can't do it, you know, in the middle of the night, obviously, or like it has to be like there's a time limit there, but I can do it a little later if I want to do it later, or earlier if I want to do it earlier. So I get to figure it out. And it's not like, oh, you have to do it this way and we have to implement this thing. It's like very, yeah, it's
Free
it's
flow.
yeah. I can figure out how I want to do these general things. And for you too, in the sense of like you can have clients and work with them, but you get to figure out how you want to work
Yeah.
with them. The clients need to be helped, you know, and probably, you know, if you're coaching or whatever, most people would want to be helped during the day, again, for example, but you can like figure out what to do and figure out exactly when, you know?
Exactly. It's like if the day doesn't work for me, sorry,
Yeah.
like figure something out,
Yeah.
you know? And like now I'm even wanting to change my work schedule to suit my cycle. I don't want to, you know, be doing things when I'm on my period anymore. Like I want to just be sleeping,
Yeah.
relaxing, watching Netflix.
Yeah. I love it. And people do that. Like people have been able to do that. Well, obviously, like period coaches do that. I know
Yeah.
Deanne Lee Status Flow on Instagram. She came on this podcast like wait, you know her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's
Who are you?
cool. Oh, okay, cool. She's so cool. I think she does that too, or she was doing that at one point. She's a mom now, so I don't know how it works, but yeah, people succeed at that. They can do that. And but like we just grow up in a society where it's like, oh, this is how it is. Like you're like somehow it's bad if you're taking a week off every month. You should
And
only take weekends off.
be.
Oh,
Like it shouldn't be. It's not like a week where like it's not that I'm not gonna do anything, but I want to take it slow, like slow it down, you know, not be going full on. Like I want to slow it down and like just, you know, schedule, like not take meetings and all that crap, you
yeah.
know, during that time. Like I just want to just, you know, why not?
Exactly. Like I think even if you or someone did want to take a week off, you could. Like you could.
Exactly.
I'm not seeing my therapist next week because she's gone or whatever. Like and I'm like, good, go like do your thing,
Yeah.
you know? And especially you know ahead of time. You can tell people when they sign up with you or however you're working with people, they'll know what's up right away, you know? They plan on it. Makes sense. Makes sense. Another thing, I love learning this about you. You won the burger, like a burger flip. Was it
Yeah.
like a competition that you went to?
Yeah, so it was a KFC. So with KFC, see how they've got like different branches. So all the branches in my region, there was a competition. It's called Champs. So at this competition, you bring your best, you know, and then you win prizes. So I was going against the other regions, you know, and then I went against them, and then there was like three of us, like some got eliminated. There was three of us, and then we went to the next level and I won. At the night
That's
they
amazing.
announced, and I won. Like I was so good, like just the way I make the burgers, like it's just so good. You know, I had like this way. I did it. I'm sure it was so mesmerizing for them because the goal really is for by the time the customer gets in line, they don't need to spend more than 5 minutes from the time they lined up. By 5 minutes, they should be getting out. So they were timing us and that it's based on how quick. So we had our best service person, our best burgers, just to make sure that everything was like running smoothly. And by the time it's like burger, when the order comes through, so the order comes through, it goes on the board. I have a system, if it's like 3 Zinger burgers, I have a system of how to make all 3 at once, whereas other burger people will be making it 1 at a time. But I'm like, boom, done, boom, 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 done, cleaned. Next, what's up?
Wow.
So fun. So fun. No, I really excel at stuff. Like, I think what you're noticing about yourself is something that I'm also noticing about myself now. Like, whatever I do, I don't know what it is. Maybe when you listen to the story, it might like kind of give you an idea. Well, maybe help me figure out what it is. So obviously I've spoken about like the burger bit where it's like, for some reason, I just enjoyed making these burgers. Like I really enjoyed it so much.
Awesome.
And I excelled at it. And I remember I was working for a company when I finished uni. I wanted to, work for a company like a charity. So I was working for this charity. It's called Child Fund. Well, someone say don't mention their name, but oh crap, whatever. I mentioned their name, whatever. So yeah, that I started working for them, and basically their quota is 6 signups per week. So for them, like their best is like having 6, like signing up 6 people in a week. That's like the best. That's like the KPI you got to meet. So anyway, I get introduced to this company. I read about their story and everything. I'm inspired. I'm like, wow, I get to stand on the road, share this story with them about this child, and they get to sponsor the child through education and food. And the child is like thriving because of this. Yes, I'm going to do this. So I believed in it so much. The first week I broke the record. I signed up 12.
Wow, double.
It had never happened. I signed 12 people, not even doing anything. Like I was on the road, I was dancing on the road, having so much fun. And people are coming to me like, hey, why are you dancing? I remember some of my coworkers, like they're busy calling people. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do weird stuff. Like I'll bounce a bottle on my head and I'll just be like balancing it, walking. And the people are like, how do you do that? And then after I show them, they're like, okay, by the way, what are you doing here? And then I'll share it with them. And I was just so passionate. I believed in what I was doing. 12 signups. Now check this. So we have like the monthly meeting. So I continued. My first one was 12. After that, I wasn't doing below 10. Like a week, I'm signing minimum 10 people, which is like great, like for the company, so great. So anyway, we have the monthly meeting. I've been in the company, I think about a month. We have the monthly meeting and they start breaking down where the money's going. So I see this pie chart on the board and I'm like, is this what I'm thinking? Because how they explained, I was like, that doesn't add up. So I put my hand up and I'm like, can you please explain this pie chart? Because from what I'm getting, 50% is going to admin. Okay. 35% is going to like some other stuff, like payment for whatever. 15% is going to the kids.
Oh no.
My heart just, I was like, wait, so that means I'm lying on the street. I was like, I'm lying to people because people feel like paying $20 a month is going to the child. Come on, at least send 50%.
Exactly.
At least. And since then, I will go out and I will not sign anybody. I'll just go and I'm just like, they kept giving me warning. I just didn't have any zeal to sign anyone. They're like, hey, if you don't sign anyone, you'll be fired. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just kept doing that and I quit. I stopped going, because it's like that fire just died. And I didn't want to go anymore. So I find like when I really believe in something, I can sell anything if I believe in it. But if I don't believe in it, sorry. It's not happening.
That's so real. Like wow, it's such a great example. Like amazing stories. I'm enjoying this so much. Just amazing stories.
I love it. I love it. Like
But
there's
it's
so
so
much. It's like something that I'm starting to realize. Like my dad even told me about this new thing. It's called Pi Network. Guys, if anyone wants to join Pi Network, use my code, okay?
What
It's
is it?
Pi Net. I think I told you a bit about it, no?
Tell me more.
So
Remind me.
it's kind of like Bitcoin, I would say, but it's now
Oh,
I told you about it, right?
yes.
Yeah, so my dad told me about it and I came home, I did a lot of research and I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I start telling people about it. And funnily enough, about a month later, my dad, like we're having coffee. And I'm like, Dad, how's your pie thing going? And then he's like, oh, it's going really well. I've been meaning to call you to explain it to you, but I haven't had time. And I'm like, no, explain it to me. Don't worry, I did my research. Like I know everything about it. And then he's like, oh, okay, you must be sitting on like 20 coins. And I'm like, no, I'm sitting on 102 coins. My dad's like, huh? How did you get there? I told you about it and I'm on 18 coins. How did you get there?
Wow.
My dad's like, how did you get there? And I was like, I just read about it and I just told people about it. And I just did whatever I can because I believe in what they're doing. My dad was shocked. My dad's like, how? I don't how. So that's like how, because now I'm like the team member. I need to be telling people, like, if anyone in my group is not mining, I'm like, mine. Like, I need to encourage them to mine. And I've been doing it for no reason. And the funny thing is that the coins hasn't even materialized, like it's stages. So now we're moving to the next stage. But I believe in it so much, I don't care. Even if I do it and it doesn't even amount to anything, I don't care. It just gave me this thing, whatever it is,
Yeah, I love it. That's so cool. I love to learn this about you, that you really like just these particular things you just totally excel in and totally love. And I think it's really deep and inspiring because I feel like we are a type of person, like we could try to do typical things in society and just be like, none of this is working. Like, none of this is working out. I don't really feel like I want to put an effort in this stuff. I feel like it's just like not really going anywhere. I don't want to do it. I think people could look at us and being like, oh, you guys aren't trying hard enough, or you're not, whatever they would say.
Yeah.
But really, it's just like not the right fit for us because we have to like actually believe in what we're doing. And that's so true. Like I've looked at other people as well who do, because most people do these jobs that are like they don't believe in them, but they go and they do it every day for 8 hours. Do you hear the horse?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's like whinnying. But yeah, so many people are doing this. Most people are doing this, and I wonder, like, how can you show up at your job every day if you don't?
I couldn't. In fact, it's not a matter of I couldn't, I wouldn't.
Wouldn't.
Just won't. At this point in my life, I won't. I can't. No.
Yeah. And I could see it being like, oh, I don't really care about the company or what happens. They just like give me enough money, so that's why I show up. But then I'm realizing, like, even if I didn't care and like, oh, if I mess up, who cares? No pressure, all that. I would still be just like bored out of my mind. It's just so.
Yeah.
I think it gives us a lot of hope that there are like alternative. We can figure out, like we've been saying, it's just more and more evidence that other options are there for us, like it just, how many times has it seemed, at least to me, like it really only feels like my business or working for a job that I hate. And I remember my, like, so like we have talked so much about this, and like I've talked about this a lot with my therapist too, and these are kind of spaces that I talk about this topic with, because my friends in that I have in person here in Michigan aren't really entrepreneurs. You know, they do their own thing. They have maybe small businesses on the side and stuff like that, but just don't talk about it. I remember my therapist saying like it does well, she was kind of she helped me realize that it doesn't have to be like my business only or this like horrible corporate job. There's so many other things to do and figure out. And like you gave us the example, I'd even if it's at a company that isn't going to be your forever place, or even if like you might be able to create your own position in a way that
Exactly.
feels good to you. It's just
Exactly.
if we're open to it, it'll happen.
Definitely. But then as we're talking about this, there's a part of me that's not asking now, I always ask, I'm like, why don't I do that for my products? And it's not because I don't believe in my product, but I can literally sell anything. If
Mm.
I believe in it, I will sell anything. In fact, the people I've been able to convince to jump on Pi Network, they don't even know how I did that, because and they're mine every day. These are not people that you can get them to do it, but they're mine. Even before I could go and tell them to mine, they're mining. And they're not getting anything monetary out of it yet. You know, because I believe in it so much. So when I'm sharing, I'm like, listen, you know, and then whenever they ask me, so what if it doesn't amount to anything? Then I'm like, then it doesn't amount to anything. But for now, we're believing that it will. You
Yeah.
know, it's like
That's amazing. What do you
incredible.
think that is? Like, why don't you think you do that for your products?
Yeah. See, I feel like, okay, and I love this because as I'm talking, I start to get my own answers. I feel like what it is I need to try the product first.
Mm.
I need to believe that the product works for me. Okay. Like recently, one of Daniel's products, because I think I told you they're into natural agricultural and like natural product tea from Ghana, they export it. And
Cool.
one of the products, one day I forgot to take my skincare product and I was like, damn, what am I going to do? And I started using one of their soaps, you know, and I was like, oh my God, this is probably going to ruin my skin, but I don't have any other thing. Let me use it. Then I realized that it started to transform my skin. I was like, whoa. And then I
Whoa.
continued to use it and I was like, oh my God, my dark spots are going. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know? And so I was like, I wonder if this will work for other people. So I can't start talking about it because I've used it and I've seen that it's worked for me. So now I'm like, I got samples from it. I'm like, give me about 10. I want to give it to other people to try. Once other people try and they're like, man, this works, I will sell it to anybody. Like it would be so easy for me to sell it. So I feel like the reason why I'm not able to do that with my product is because it's my product. Like I am my product. Like I
Mm.
am. So it's hard for me to experience myself. Like I know
Yeah.
what I'm capable of doing. So it's like whenever people ask me, like recently I ran a retreat and I don't know if you knew about that. I had a retreat here. Did I mention?
When?
Oh, just before literally after the retreat, a week later, I lost my grandma. But
Oh,
yeah, I ran
wow.
this retreat. And as I was running it, you know, they were asking me, so how's it going to be? What is it? And I said, I don't know. But I know one thing, it's going to be powerful and transformational. It's going to be life-changing. But I don't know how it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. So if anyone's going to sign up, they just need to know that they're coming on a mystery adventure. That's all I can say. Sorry, I don't have any more. And then they kept coming back to me. They're like, no, but people want to sign up. They want to know what's happening each day. I said, I don't know. Sorry. I actually don't know. I am also surrendering to this experience. All I know is I'm going to be there and I'm going to show up. And things will unfold as they need to unfold. And then they'll come again. Ida, come on, people really want to sign up. Give us something, one thing. I'm like, sorry, I can't. So we ended up getting 8 people come on board, and they didn't even know what they were signing up for. So they came, they're like, I remember we got to the retreat, and then they're like, so what are we doing today? I'm like, I don't know. We will know when the time comes, like when in our session, we'll know what's going to happen. And it was mind blowing at the end of it.
Wow.
So mind blowing. Like, and now it's like, I don't even need to talk about my service. Like people, it's like word of mouth.
Wow.
So I feel like, because I can't experience myself, when people experience me, then they do what I do for me. Like now I don't need to, one thing I'm learning, I don't need to talk about my product. Like the membership, I've opened it again. I don't even need to talk about it. Like people are promoting it.
Wow.
Because of the experience that they've had inside. So I feel like that's why I'm not able to do it for myself, like my own, because it's me.
Yeah.
Someone else needs to experience me and know how it feels to experience me, then they can choose to share it. I think that's what it is. Because with the other things, I experience it and I'm like, man, this was amazing. I can't wait to tell the world about it. But I'm not able to experience me. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm my product.
Right. And you're your product too. I think like you're someone who really likes to bounce things off of people. We've talked about that before, and I think it's similar. It kind of sounds similar to that theme.
How so?
Because it's not just like you having your product and putting it out into the world, just like it's not like you having your idea and understanding it and communicating out. You like way more bouncing off of people. So like you need to like bounce your services off of people, which is like also your product, and they kind of reflect stuff back to you. Just like when you're talking about a concept, you will say it to me or somebody else, and then I say, oh yeah, I get it because it's this, and then it helps you understand it differently.
Yeah. So that's what's happening. So it's like I had this idea for the membership and I didn't know how it was going to be. All I knew is start this membership. But as I started, I'm like, taking them through the process, and it's just profound, and they're just having a, like transformation. And I'm seeing the transformation because really and truly, the people who started, they're not the same people they were 3 months ago. It's so visible. And I don't even need to say it. Like people in their life is like, wow, you went from 0 to 100.
Wow.
So I see that, and I know I'm capable of doing that, but I can't come and sell that to you. I can't come and be like, listen, when you work with me, I'll transform your life. I need someone I've transformed their life to tell you, because you, like, if I'm telling you, you don't know what I'm saying. But if they're telling you like, listen, that's what I kind of feel like.
Yes. And now that I think about it, a lot of successful people have done the same thing, in the sense of like, you ask some people like, how do you create so much success? Oh, it's just been kind of word of mouth. You hear people say that, and I think sometimes it can be more powerful when somebody else says, oh my gosh, you got to check out Ida, rather than Ida saying, you got to check me out. And I think
it's like, come check me out. Exactly. People will be like, okay,
Right. I think people have so many judgments about that. Do you just want my money? Are you being sincere? But like, if somebody tells you to go pay for something that they didn't create, the money's not going to them. They're spending the extra time to tell you to do it because they got great results. Yeah, to me, that's like ideal. That's like an ideal way of selling. Plus, you don't have to worry about selling because other people do it for you. It's like a win-win-win-win.
Yeah, it's not my strong suit. Well, the way I see people sell, no, I can sell myself one-on-one by showing you what I can do. But like the way we've been taught to sell, that doesn't, it's not for me.
Yeah. That hasn't changed for either of us since we started this podcast.
It's gonna change. We've come too far. That's not gonna.
No. If anything, it's even more like I've had other like evidence that it really doesn't work.
Doesn't.
Or it's just really not, it's often not sincere, you know, like I'm seeing just so much evidence in the diet world. Like people have these, hey, stop, stop. People have these like, I don't know, they have these groups of people around a certain diet and everyone's like, it works for everybody. And then you start asking more questions and you're like, wait, it doesn't work for everybody. I've talked to people who it doesn't work for. So it's just like there's a lot of I don't even think it's intentional insincerity, but it just happens like that. People get excited about what works for them and then talk about they talk about it like it works for everybody and people get the wrong idea. Like I think it's often unintentional, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, wow, it's a gorgeous place.
Yeah, I know, man. Some of these houses, like, I want to show, I want to do like a tour on Instagram, but I want to respect their privacy. They're like, especially with the stuff I talk about, they don't know that, you know, I just talk about crazy stuff and do crazy stuff online. I'm like, yeah, I won't show their houses, but yeah, that's also enough. Okay, so that's also a thing I like. Sorry, I'm just plugging my charger in.
All good.
That's also a thing I like about this profession so much.
Mm-hmm.
I get to live in essentially luxury, you know, it's like I don't babysit mansions. I think you would need more than one person to do that, or they have, you know, it's definitely like really nice places. And I like that. I like to be in a nice environment. I don't want to be in an environment that you know, I like the outdoors. I like homesteading. I like farm animals, but I also like to be in a clean house, you know, at the
Yeah.
end of the day. And anyway, just it's crazy what can really work out. But and same thing, I mean, to tie it all in, it's like, okay, we don't like this type of selling. So many people tell us, well, then you're not going to be able to sell if you don't like this type of selling. And it's just crap. It's not true. Always other options available. Well, what if I get word of mouth? Then it's like such a better, it's better for everybody, like we said. So, you know.
Exactly. It might take longer, but
Yeah.
it'll work, you know. And I think I'm looking around, you know how I check you out, and I feel like you're building a good momentum right now. Do you feel that way too?
It's interesting, it's interesting. I feel like since I got back into the diet world, I have been. And we acknowledge that. I love that you pop in. You like pop in
All
on
the
my
time.
I know, I love it. I don't acknowledge it that much, but I see it and I really appreciate it that you take the time to do that. It means a lot because I feel like you're
Like,
kind of
yes, Emma's okay.
yeah.
There's so much progress, momentum, yay.
I love it, just means the world. It means the world because you're also like you're like a friend and a business partner too, you know? It's yeah, it means a lot. So yes, ever since I got back into the diet world, I feel like I have been building momentum and it's weird how everything's kind of coming together. Like we started with diet, now we kind of found it again. We did the business, everything is like worked in together. Farming has somehow worked in a little bit with it. So yes, I do, but you know this primal diet that I was doing, the
Mhm.
like really strict thing.
Yeah,
I branched out from that
yeah, I think
recently. Yeah, it was like so narrow. It was an experiment. Um, and yeah, it was just I reached a point where I'm like, yeah, this is clearly not working. So it's interesting because I also feel like I'm at a transition. But what's funny is I wasn't even worried about this because my like I've said, my livelihood doesn't depend on my business. It you know, that would have that pissed me off along, a couple months ago, but now it's in a way kind of freeing because I'm like, I could lose all of my followers and still be like fine doing what I'm doing now. So like I wasn't worried about that. I know that can be a big topic for people when they're repping something really hard and they stop doing that and they're like, I don't know, what's everyone going to think? But it's funny, I haven't lost any, I've just gained followers because people are like, it's like so much more relatable. They're like, oh, you like to eat raw meat still, but you also now eat these other things that are more relatable to what I like. And oh, that's interesting. You're getting good results, but you're not following this diet strictly. Like even people who are on this strict diet, they're kind of asking questions and I have no agenda. I'm just talking about what works for me. But I do feel like it's somewhat of a transition time, which has been interesting, but not a time of like, I've been surprised at the people who have stayed in my audience, but it is a time of transition that like, I'm just curious to see where it will lead. Cause right now I feel like I'm achieving a lot, but I'm like, whoa, everything's coming together, but I still kind of don't really know how to describe what I do and what my path is online. It's literally just me experimenting as always,
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. And I feel like once you drop it has to be this, it works.
Yeah. Yeah, it just kind of becomes its own thing and that's super strong. There's like so much stability in that because I was thinking about it today, like some people kind of hint at this. I don't even know how serious it is, but some people kind of hint that like I just want to profit off of like the types of diet that I try and stuff like that. Like, oh, you created this app and it's very subtle. It's not, I don't have like specific people.
Just don't pay it any mind them.
No, but that's, what's that?
No, I was like, what's in your heart, so don't pay it any mind.
I really don't. And actually that's the funny thing. Today I was thinking about it and I was like, I honestly, there's nothing in me that's like, oh no, what are people going to think? Because I can't do anything different than what I'm doing. I'm literally just talking about my life and there's so much integrity with what I'm doing. I feel like it's so stable because it's just my life and I can't change that. So when people say like, oh, you're changing or, oh no, you were doing this so specifically and now you're not anymore. What do you about that, or is it a problem? I'm like, it's just my life. I've been like documenting my life and profiting off my life for like years now, and that's just how I do it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And there's just a lot of longevity in that. And we're just, and I was back, Ida, to just like being authentic, like probably same for your brand and what you're doing. Like you've transitioned too throughout your career and you're still in full integrity. So there's really no problem.
Definitely. And just like you, I'm back to what it's always been, self-discovery. Who are you?
Yeah. Back to what it's always been.
That's what it's always been. And I feel like once you go back to what it is, then, because right now, that's just all I'm known for, self-discovery, self-expression. I actually don't see that changing because that's so innate. Like it's been that for so long. I changed it only because of, when I joined other coaches and they're like, yeah, do it this way. How about you package it this way? That's when it changed. But that's just what it's about, self-discovery. Because that's what I'm doing. And it's funny, I think did I share this with you or did I write it in my Crazy Deep? Well, I was talking to someone I met online the other time, and we were talking about, okay, so what's your why? And this just blurted out of my mouth. I'm like, my why is self-discovery. I don't think I'm online or I have my business for anyone. It's for myself. It's for me to discover myself. I'm not doing, and it was so freeing because I'm not doing this for you. I'm actually, even with the membership, it's for me to discover myself. What what comes out of Ida as she's supporting these women, to see what comes out of them. That's all it's about. I'm not here to like, do whatever for you. I'm just self-discovering. Come on the journey, self-discover. I'm guiding you as I'm guiding myself to discover more about myself. And the more I'm guiding you, the more I'm discovering more about myself. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not for any other reason. It's to know me more. And it was so liberating for me, because I'm like, no, I'm not coming online to teach you A, B, C, D. I'm not coming to teach you the 3 steps to do X. No, I'm just like, the last time I was going to explore safety, and then my grandma's not here. And so I'm not going to post, and I'm not going to post my grief. I'm not going to post my process. Go to M for that. You know what I mean? So it's like, just know who's going to give you that. Like, M will do it in your face, but you just have to know that that's not Ida. But I process alone. I really process alone, because most of my friends, like, they're always like, even now, one of my friends like, Ida, like, please don't cry alone. Like, call me, let's cry together. And I'm like, is that what I need? No, that's not what I need. Is just to process this on my own. But I love that you're there and you're thinking about me. That makes me feel like I'm not alone, but I don't want to do it like with you. And that's okay.
Yep. We need all types of people.
There are.
Yeah.
So I think it's just really important for us to honor ourselves, because it will be disingenuous for me to now go on Instagram and be sharing, this happened. No, unless I feel called to, then I will. I didn't even know I was going to open the podcast today talking about the fact that I lost my grandma, because I haven't shared it on social media. Wow. But I did, because it felt okay, and I just honored that,
Yeah, I know. And I know you enough at this point where I wasn't obviously going to bring it up, but I was like, oh, she's just moving through all this intuitively, because that's what she does. And it's just coming up right now, because that's what you do. Yeah, it's cool. I love how you talk about how freeing it is. And it immediately made me think of my other podcast too. And I keep giving these examples about like what haters have said, but I think it's good because even if it's not a hater online, sometimes it's like family members or people that are kind of hinting at things that can get off. Not well, actually it has happened in my life. Family or friends, they just kind of say little things here and there that make you think like, oh, am I doing the right thing, or should I be doing it this way? Coaches try to knock you off your path, so anyway, I think this is a good example too. People say you shouldn't have this person on because they did this before, like cancel culture type of thing, or you're only interviewing people from the Primal Diet. Aren't you worried that you're going to lose the people that have been with your podcast since the beginning because they'll get bored of it? All those scenarios, I'm like, no, I'm not, because I don't do my podcast for other people. Like, I want to share it for other people, but I don't interview guests for other people. I wouldn't do my podcast if I had to do that, because I would hate it. I'm doing my podcast for my own self-discovery, and then sharing it because I want to do that. But I want to share my process, and I know it helps people along the way too. And that's the byproduct of it. But I'm not, oh, I have to change this, or I have to worry about this because people might leave or get mad. It's not even a thing. I'm like, I don't care if nobody's listening to it, as long as I can still have guests on and talk to them. That's what I want to do. There's so much. Again, I feel like it goes back to not having like a boss. Like we don't even see our clients as really like being able to dictate what we do. We make all the decisions, and you can like it and vibe with it and be a part of it or not. And that's fine, because we're not driven by money, it's by what we want. And it just so happens that God blesses us with that, and we can do what we want and make money, because that's how we get to be blessed on this earth,
Exactly that, exactly that.
Cool.
We know what time it is, right?
We do know what time it is. Yeah, we're closing down. Perfect episode, like flawless episode. This is also an example of like how amazing stuff can be just in two. Ida and I don't plan for this, but what
At
did we
all.
get in this episode? Amazing lessons. We learned more about Ida. Crazy storytelling, amazing storytelling. We got it all, like inspiring stuff, but we don't even try because it's just another example of what's possible. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here, my friends. We will post the replay on podcast platforms. It'll be on YouTube as well. Love you guys. Thank you very much. Ida,
What she
any words? Okay.
I'm like, what she
All right.
thank you guys. Yeah.
If you want to contact us, there will be info on that in the show notes. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube. Thank you guys.